Welcome to the Trash Picture Show. Today I'm going to be reviewing two fucking clunkers which I can't stand. Why? Well, they're live action adaptations of my favourite comic book character, Frank Castle, aka The Punisher. First off, we have Lexi Alexander's Punisher from 2009, and then we have 2004's The Punisher from Jonathan Henshaw. Quick history on The Punisher though. Punisher was written and created by Jerry Conway in the 70s, and he started off life as a villain in Spider-Man. Later on he grew in popularity and became his own standalone character. Originally he was going to be called the Assassin, but Stan Lee didn't like that idea and told Jerry to change his name to the Punisher. Now, in the 70s and 80s he was fairly popular, in no small part to influences from movies such as Death Wish starring Charles Bronson and Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. But as the 90s came on, like all Marvel characters, he kind of took a bit of a nosedive in credibility. The Archie comics had him as chaperone at Archie's prom. He was turned African American for a time, and then he was also made the Hand of God. Luckily enough, in 2000 and 2003, Garth Ennis wrote the fantastic Welcome Back Frank, and then later on he done an 18s plus comic in the Max run, which is fantastic. Jason Aaron later took on the role to finish up the series, and both runs are fantastic. So if you get a chance, definitely check them out. I'm going to be going through some of my favourite ones later on. First off, we have this Punisher movie, which is actually, it's alright, it's not great, it has its problems, but it's not the worst in the world. The only issue is John Travolta. John Travolta ruins this movie. And while Thomas Jane does give a good performance, it is essentially not a proper Frank Castle. He's kind of more like a Clint Eastwood Man with No Name vibe. It relies a bit too much on comedy as well, but I can go back and watch it for fun, but I would not consider it a good solid Punisher movie. Next up, we have Lexi Alexander's Punisher movie. Marginally better than the other one, but it's mainly a gore fest. Ray Stevenson does his best at Frank, but he kind of has a very soulless character to him. Now, granted, Frank Castle isn't a conversationalist, but Ray Stevenson does just come across as a block of wood who punches people and shoots people. We also have Dominic West playing a well-known Punisher villain, Jigsaw. However, he comes across more like a bargain bin Heath Ledger. If you're having a night in with a couple of mates and a couple of cans, it's an okay watch, but if you're a Punisher fan, I'd give it a miss. So where can you go from there? Well, season 2 of Daredevil introduced the Punisher, and Jon Bernthal does a fantastic job. He's well rounded. He feels like an individual who's tormented and doesn't feel he belongs in society when he loses his family. Jon Bernthal just absolutely wipes the floor with all other prior performances. He's a fantastic man to take up the mantle as Frank Castle, and I implore you, check out season 2 of Daredevil. Right, for any of you really super fans, there is The Punisher on PlayStation 2. Awesome game. If you like the likes of Manhunt, it's very like that. Very gory, very cool. Thomas Jane, ironically, this came out at the same time as Thomas Jane's movie, does the voice of Frank and does a fairly good job. He actually does a better job than he does in the movie. You get a couple of cameos from some Marvel heroes and villains, and it's well worth the price. If you can track it down online, and yeah, well worth checking out. Now, a couple of Punisher comic recommendations. First off, we have Punisher Born. This is Garth Ennis' kind of origin story to Frank Castle, and it shows Frank's last tour in Vietnam. Basically, Dirk Robson does a fantastic job portraying what it was like to fight in Vietnam, and really shows where Frank's mentality as a soldier and a wager of war comes from. If Frank sees a wrong, he has to right it. Even if it's his own men are causing issue, he will sort it out. Dirk Robson's art is amazing. Garth Ennis does a brilliant job. Well worth it. If you're a Punisher fan, this is a must. Well, I started with the first, I'm going to go with the last. This is Jason Aaron's run of The Punisher, and it kind of, Aaron brings in a lot of characters from the Marvel universe, but they're not superpowered. They're more gritty, kind of realistic characters. This being the Max kind of universe. If the Max universe had to be summed up like a TV show or a TV channel, it would be HBO, because some of this stuff is just it's it's crazy. It's mental. But that said, it's the Punisher. Steve Dillon, who worked with Garth Ennis on Welcome Back Frank, does an amazing job in this, and well worth a look. In the beginning, this is the first of the Marvel Max run with the Punisher. Garth Ennis and Luis LaRosa. He does a wicked job with the artwork. In some panels, he kind of like makes Frank look like Dirty Harry. I actually like that. He makes him look like Clint Eastwood. Kind of a surprise turn with who's the villain. A long-time associate, Microchip. Wicked book. Well worth a look. Lastly, Mother Russia. This is essentially a fantastic kind of mercenary Punisher story where Nick Fury hires Frank to go to Russia to retrieve a girl who has a super virus in her bloodstream, and yeah, you get a good look at Nick Fury as well in the Max universe, and he's like well suited to it. It's an awesome story. So there's my view on kind of the Punisher in modern kind of entertainment, and I think the movies have really let him down, but the Netflix show of Daredevil is second to none. So if you're a Punisher fan, check him out. It's awesome. He does a wicked job in the Punisher TV show. My name's Martin. This has been the Trash Picture Show. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And yeah, have a good one. Take care. Bye now.